Hello and welcome to the review of the all-new Land Rover Defender Series 130. We've all heard the statement form meeting function, and Land Rovers and Range Rovers have for long been a true embodiment of that statement, form meeting function. However, it's not every so often we get to see a vehicle where function meets form, and that's where this nameplate, one that goes all the way to the 1980s, comes into existence in its latest iteration. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Land Rover Defender. Now let's talk a little bit about the design of the Defender. Now, in a true off-roader fashion, the Defender comes with a very bold and aggressive front fascia. Now, the headlamps are encompassed in this beautiful black accents, and you've also got daytime running LEDs to go with it. All of the grills are functional. As you can see, you've got two radiator housings on either side of the car, and it's also rounded off by this rather large and prominent Defender badge. But what I also like in particular about this car is that you get the 130 series as a decal up top on the bonnet. The sheer length of the Series 130 is evident from the sides. The 8-seater off-roader is 13.4 inches longer from head to toe than the Series 110, the 5-seater variant, though wheelbase remains the same. On the sides, you are also presented with a functional grille inlet, sturdy multi-plated side steps, and 21-inch alloy wheels. More details are added into the posterior, which gets the signature rounded square tail lamps encompassing the circular lights and separate turn indicators that are almost reminiscent to that of its predecessor. The classic spare wheel with a designated housing is also present on the tailgate. Another feature that I absolutely adore about the Defender is that you have a tailgate that opens outwards. You can also use the buttons in the back to lower or heighten the rear axle to help with loading items to the boot. It's evident Land Rover's engineers made sure the Defender would be capable of handling rough terrain before focusing on its on-road performance. So the vehicle is equipped with features such as air suspension, more on that in a second, an 8-speed transmission, locking center and active rear locking differentials, and Land Rover's latest terrain response technology, which allows it to navigate even the toughest landscapes. So the first thing you realize as you get into the driving seat of the Defender is the riding position and the ride height. Now, arguably every single Range Rover and Land Rover vehicle gives you a commanding riding position. That's actually one of the many reasons you buy these vehicles. However, the Defender just feels a bit more connected to the steering wheel than, say, a Vogue, which is meant to be a chauffeur-driven vehicle. The steering itself is large and actually very well bolstered here. You can see that it's done up in very solid leather, very soft in fact, and the polycarbonate elements are very high quality. There are a lot of buttons on it, and I shall get to that in a bit, that controls much of the infotainment unit at the center, as well as the instrument cluster that's right up in front of me. Now let's talk a little bit about the ride quality of the Defender. Now, I've actually tested one of the 1984 Land Rover Defenders that one of my friends had refurbished, and of course it feels like night and day driving this thing, as it is supposed to. Now, this vehicle here, done up in 2022 model year, is actually fantastic to ride on the road. The control you get from the steering is quite direct. The steering feels a lot more connected than, say, some of the other rivals that I've tested out in this price point, as well as from the other segments. And one of the things that actually come up to mind is that despite the ride height, the vehicle actually bounces around a lot less, much thanks to the air suspension that this vehicle has. And as you can see that the controls are right here for you to control it. You can actually have it lowered down and locked in position if you want to have a little more command on what's happening on the road. The road feedback is quite excellent from the tires as well. Now, the engine that's underneath the hood is a 3-liter turbocharged 6-cylinder unit that is mated to an 8-speed ZF transmission. Now, the power output remains at 400 horsepower and torque remains at 550 Newton meters at 5000 RPM. And the pickup and the acceleration is quite unexpected from a vehicle that weighs about 3.38 tons gross weight, that is. and 0 to 100 is achieved in about 6.6 seconds. That's actually one of the fastest in the segment. And mind you want to go faster? There is a V8 version that is due to be launched in Oman soon. However, you'll have to wait a little bit for that. The V8 Defender also has some additional handling enhancements, including a dynamic mode for the terrain response system and upgraded springs, dampers, anti-roll bars, and electronic rear differential. But before we head deeper into the off-road dynamics, let's take a look inside. The interior of the Defender combines elements of the original model's functionality with modern technology and equipment. It features a combination of rugged exposed screw heads and sleek aluminium panels, giving it an aura of quality and toughness. It also includes some unexpected features such as padded armrests and plush, soft touch surfaces, especially on the well-bolstered seats that are an absolute dream to be in. The 11.4-inch PV Pro infotainment system is user-friendly and seamlessly integrates with smartphones for easy use of Apple Carplay or Android Auto. It's quick to respond and makes maximum use of the 85 ECUs that communicate with each other at 100 Mbps. Users will be quick to notice the smart navigation system, valet mode for when you valet your car, eco data pages with a plethora of pages for sustainable driving, vehicle dimensions page in case you wanted to geek out, climate control functions, and the most important page, the 4x4 page, which can show you everything from what your differentials are up to, how much water you're wading in, and much more. The buttons on the steering wheel here can control various functions on the digital instrument cluster, from changing some display elements on the tachometer to bringing up the navigation screen as the primary display. Another feature worth noticing are the multi-function rotary knobs on the extended dashboard, which can be switched out from climate control knobs to the knob that controls the height of the SUV and even the differential controls. The clear sight rear view mirror allows for improved visibility when the Defender is loaded or the spare tire is obscuring the view, and the clear sight camera system allows for a virtual view through the hood for off-road adventures. It's pretty functional to be deemed a gimmick, so we found ourselves using it a lot. On the space front, even tall second row passengers will find ample leg and headroom, while third row passengers will find themselves comfortable too. They'll need to pull down a lever and handle the second row seats before being able to access the third row, though it's still a very nice place to be with enough skylight entering from the top and sides. Rest assured, claustrophobia shouldn't be an issue here. Now let's talk about the off-roading characteristics of the Defender. It's worth catching up on a little bit of the technology. Project L663, or the codename for Defender, is based on JLR's D7 premium lightweight architecture aluminium platform, but it's been developed into the D7X, X standing for extreme, monocoque, which is claimed to be 3 times stiffer in terms of structural rigidity compared to its rivals. In real terms, that means the Defender will withstand serious loadings, reflected in its off-road ability and on-road poise. The tire-sucking sand and boulder-strewn sands of Oman are an ideal testing ground for the Defender's many off-road systems. With low range and off-road height selected, we headed into some smaller challenges to test its widths. Extremely short front and rear overhangs allow for genuine all-terrain approach and departure angles at 37.5 and 28.5 degrees respectively, and breakover angles of 27.8 degrees. Supplementing the permanent 4-wheel drive and locking differential, Land Rover's all-terrain response system provides a selection of pre-programmed settings to suit specific terrain types, including sand, mud, snow, and rock crawl settings. Oh, how we wish we had some more time with the Defender. But in the 6 to 8 hours we've tested this car, we've come to conclude that this is possibly one of the best and sophisticated off-roaders that OERLive has tested. This just goes to show that with British soul and engineering resilience, a nameplate as old as the Defender can stand to witness the test of time for decades to come. I urge you, ladies and gentlemen, to check out the all-new Defender at the MHD showroom, where they also tell me that they have some offers going on for its other siblings such as the Range Rover Sport. This is Alvin Thomas signing off.